Hello, namaste, sat sri akal, jai Gurdev. Thank you for joining us on our Sada Apna show, Love, Laugh and Live.
प्यार करो हंसो ते जुग जुग जियो वाला शो शुरू करन तो पहला कहना है आज को जीना है तो ऐसे जिए आज को जीना है तो ऐसे जिए हर सोच में प्यार शांत में खुशबू आवे which means let's live our lives with beautiful thoughts and actions that create joyful fragrance in all areas of our lives.
So first I'm going to introduce Dav.
Hi, I'm Dav Dvinder, you can also call me, and I'm a life and spiritual coach, and I'm just happy to be here to share all our learnings with you. And this is my lovely co-host, Gurdial.
Hi, welcome everyone. I'm Gurdial Garcha. I'm a resilience and empowerment coach, and really enjoying doing our Love, Laugh and Live show. So Dav, what's our topic today?
So today's topic is why do we procrastinate? Putting things to the last minute. Most people will put off tasks here and there, but some do it all the time. And why?
Yeah,
so
exactly.
Can we explain more about procrastination?
So there's a Latin meaning for procrastination, and it means to put off something until tomorrow. But the reality is we procrastinate so that we can put things off, but really we want to do something when we're actually in the mood, and all mood aave na aave, so that's where holly we end up maybe not doing it at all, or just delaying it to another kind of situation, and or fi bahana ban janda hai asi excuse banan lap pinde
yeah but there is a deeper meaning that we want to share with you, why we find ourselves avoiding these situations, because we know sade fayde waste hega but bahana fir kyon banai jande, and this is what we want to really share today, hai na? Explain a little bit very briefly that most of our actions jo kuch ho raha automatically ho raha is happening on a subconscious level, because our subconscious mind is 95% controlling everything is happening around us. But jab is decision banana, it happens mostly in the present, which is on the conscious level, which is 5%. Let's say I want to go to the gym today, hai na? So consciously ma socha, but that's only 5%. But the subconscious mind, which runs 95%, that will override that, because on a subconscious level, probably feel like, oh, I'm never going to be able to achieve anything. I'm never going to be fit. My health is never good. Always something wrong with me. So that overrides this conscious 5%.
Yeah, and so procrastination is another way of looking at decisions or actions which we're postponing. So कोई भी सलाह या जहाँ सानू पता भी या काम मैनू करना चाहिए, जहाँ कोई पेपर हुआ, कोई कुछ भी हो सकता है भी वो डिले कर दें आपां. So कई बारी होता है, like if I invite you to a party, then what would your reaction be first of all?
Well, sometimes straight away I might सोचूंगी, I don't feel like going, and then you just feel like you don't really want to go, and then you find excuses or reasons bahane banaye jane, and but we end up going, but we keep delaying making that decision, like you're sitting on the fence, jana nahi jana, but we're procrastinating making that final decision.
फिर ਉਹਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਜਦੋਂ procrastinate ਕਰਦੇ ਆ, ਉਹਦਾ ਮਤਲਬ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਫਿਰ ਭਾਰ ਲੱਗਦਾ ਹੈ, ਜਿਹੜਾ ਵੀ ਕੋਈ ਕੰਮ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਆ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਮਨ ਤੇ ਵੀ ਭਾਰ, ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਸਰੀਰ ਤੇ ਵੀ ਭਾਰ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਵੀ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਪਤਾ ਆ ਵੀ ਇਹ ਕੰਮ ਕਰਨਾ ਜਿੱਦਾਂ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਕਿਹਾ ਸੀਗਾ ਫਾਇਦੇ ਲਈ ਆ, ਪਰ ਅਸੀਂ ਸਾਡਾ ਜਿਹੜਾ 95% ਦਿਮਾਗ ਆ ਪਿੱਛੋਂ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਰੋਕਦਾ ਆ, ਸਟਾਪ ਕਰਦਾ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ for some reason. So we can look at ਆਪਾਂ guilty feel ਕਰਦੇ ਆ about ourselves.
And that guilt is always because we learned from a young child that we learn to feel guilty about something, and to experience more of that guilt, right, that we feel that we need to do something that will delay us, and also then we feel more guilty about it. It's become a habit of feeling guilty. So we'll end up making these indecisive decisions so we can feel the guilt again. So guilt is running the show through all this procrastination.
ਤੇ ਕਈ ਵਾਰੀ ਇਦਾਂ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਆ, ਸੋ ਜਿਹੜੀਆਂ ਸਾਡੇ ਜ਼ਿੰਮੇਵਾਰੀਆਂ ਆ ਦਿਹਾੜੀ ਦੀਆਂ, ਆਹ ਕੰਮ ਕਰਨਾ, ਉਹ ਕੰਮ ਕਰਨਾ ਪੈਣਾ, ਮੈਨੂੰ ਆਹ ਕੰਮ ਕਰਨਾ ਪੈਣਾ, ਸੋ ਇਹ ਵੀ ਫਿਰ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਕੰਟਰੋਲ ਕਰਦੀ ਆ. ਸੋ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਤੁਹਾਡਾ ਮਨ ਕਰਦਾ भी मैं मेरा आ काम करना जी करदा it could be going out with your friends doing some artwork or कोई भी जेड़ा भी काम कोई काम थानू जेदे च खुशी मिलदी है ओ फिर तुसी कर नहीं सकदे so procrastination also controls you in a way of making you feel guilty जे मैं कुछ बढ़िया कर लिया जे मैं 2 घंटे कोई बढ़िया जी फिल्म देखी फिर थोड़े मन च हुंदा भी मैनू देखनी नहीं सी चाहिदी करके मैनू पता भी मेरे ए काम पे है ओ काम पे है so it's a cycle that can continue.
We're just sort of punishing ourselves and making life just more miserable than it needs to, but that sort of like sucks the joy out of our life, and then we find ourselves we haven't got the energy or to pursue what we're creative about, and we can't be our authentic self.
And ਜਿਹੜੀਆਂ ਚੀਜ਼ਾਂ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਖੁਸ਼ੀ ਮਿਲਦੀਆਂ you know it's really important that you kind of you know avoid the procrastination side, and we're going to talk more about that. ਉਹਦੇ ਬਾਰੇ ਅਸੀਂ ਹੋਰ ਗੱਲਾਂ ਕਰਨੀਆਂ ਤਾਂ ਉਹਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਥੋੜਾ ਜਿਹਾ ਹੋਰ ਪਤਾ ਲੱਗ ਜਾਊਗਾ. You were going to mention some student that you were aware of, you know, with last minute adrenaline.
Some people like I think students do it more, that they think that they leave their work, project, assignment, whatever last minute there because they get this thinking that the adrenaline rush. And think of having the adrenaline rush because actually it keeps them more alert. So when obviously when somebody is in fight or flight, you are alert. But actually it's not a very healthy thing to do because you're actually functioning from the part of the brain, the limbic part of the brain, which is about survival. And when you're survival mode, you're not actually allowing the front part of the brain, which is all about learning and creativity, and that switches off. So actually some people, students that use that adrenaline rush, they think it's best for them, but it's not in the long run. You actually are you damaging yourself being in all that stress mode constantly.
Definitely. But it's a pattern that's very, very common with students and anybody who's got something that they need to do, especially in terms of studying and things like that. I think it's very, very common. But we were going to talk about something about for us, we were talking about when we were younger and about making roti, and we're hoping a lot of you will be able to relate to this. ਜਾਂ ਇਹਦੇ ਬਾਰੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਥੋੜਾ ਜਿਹਾ relate ਕਰੋਗੇ ਵੀ ਹਾਂ ਵੀ ਸਾਡਾ ਵੀ ਇਦਾਂ ਹੁੰਦੀ ਸੀਗੀ. So you want to tell them first?
I remember when ਮੈਂ ਰੋਟੀ ਬਣਾਉਂਦੀ ਸੀ ਮੈਂ ਹੌਲੀ ਹੌਲੀ ਬਣਾਣੀ and my dad used to think मैं late हो रहा मैं काम पे जा रहे हैं something, and he said ਇੰਨੇ slow ਕਰਦੇ तो कुछ नहीं सही करती सी, you know, constantly saying it didn't happen once, happened a few times. ਕਹਿੰਦੇ तो नाचਦੇ ਹੌਲੀ ਹੌਲੀ ਨਾਚਦੇ ਆ ਰੋਟੀ ਹੌਲੀ ਹੌਲੀ ਬਣਾਉਂਦੇ ਆ. So I started to feel like I can't get anything right. I started feeling I'm not good enough, I can't do anything properly. So I started to feel guilt, and that sort of like prevented me ਹੁਣ ਜੋ ਮੈਂ ਰੋਟੀ ਬਣਾਉਂਦੀ ਆ I don't enjoy it because I just feel like I can still hear that voice in my head to changi tarah nahi kardi, holi holi kardi, everybody's waiting and this and that. But you don't realize as a young child that you do take these things seriously. Hun jo main roti banani hai fatafat wahabad, isn't it? Because I don't enjoy it. You know, that's something I learned where I procrastinate on making the roti. If I can make chawal vagara or मैं खुश होके बना लूँगी, but roti, there's something that we learn as a young child.
There's some resistance there, isn't there? So for me, my experience, roti बनाने ਦਾ मेरी ਜਿਹੜੀ ਨਾਨੀ ਹੁੰਦੀ ਸੀਗੀ, she was very strict. ਉਹ ਵੀ ਫਟਾਫਟ ਸਾਰੇ ਕੰਮ ਕਰ ਲੈਂਦੀ ਸੀ, ਬਹੁਤ ਦਾਲ ਸਬਜ਼ੀ ਬਹੁਤ ਸਵਾਦ ਬਣਾਉਂਦੀ ਹੁੰਦੀ ਸੀਗੀ. But ਉਹਨੇ ਕਹਿਣਾ ਜਦੋਂ ਆਟਾ ਗੁੰਨਣਾ ਜਦੋਂ ਛੋਟੀ ਹੁੰਦੀ ਸੀ, I must have been about 7, you know, ਕਹਿਣਾ ਵੀ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਸਿੱਖੋ ਹੁਣ, you know, we were chucked in the kitchen at a very young age. ਤਾਂ ਜਦੋਂ ਆਟਾ ਗੁੰਨਣਾ ਸਾਰੇ ਆਲੇ ਦੁਆਲੇ ਆਟਾ ਹੋ ਜਾਣਾ, you know, ਕਰਕੇ ਪ੍ਰੈਕਟਿਸ ਨਾਲ ਵਧੀਆ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਤਾਂ ਉਹਨੇ ਕਹਿਣਾ ਆਟਾ ਗੁੰਨੇ ਜਿੱਦਾਂ ਕੁੱਤਿਆਂ ਨੇ ਵੱਢਿਆ ਸੋ ਉਹਦੇ ਕਰਕੇ ਫਿਰ ਕਈ ਵਾਰੀ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਡਰ ਪੈ ਜਾਂਦਾ ਵੀ ਇਹ ਕੰਮ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਨਾ ਹੀ ਪੁੱਛੋ. I don't want to do it, there's a fear, and so then you kind of pull back, ਕਹਿਣਾ ਵੀ ਕੋਈ ਹੋਰ ਕਰ ਲਵੇ ਇਹ ਕੰਮ ਮੈਂ ਨਾ ਕਰਾਂ. So there will be a lot of people who don't want to do even, you know, stuff that we need to learn to do because there's a fear there, there's a guilt there ਕਿ ਮੇਰੇ ਤੋਂ ਇੰਨਾ ਵਧੀਆ ਕਰਨੀ ਹੋਣਾ. But what we need to understand is there's a process of going from being rubbish at it to being really good at it. So these sort of things can affect you, and ਉਹਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਫਿਰ ਕਿੱਦਾਂ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਚ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਵੀ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਪੈਰ ਪੀਂਦੇ ਆ ਵੀ ਇਹ ਕੰਮ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਕੋਈ ਨਾ ਹੀ ਕਵੇ ਵੀ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਨਾ ਕਰਨਾ ਪਵੇ. So that's my experience in terms of making roti.
But just look, it does have an impact on our behavior and how we play out the rest of our lives. And look, when we at my age now, and that happened years and years ago,
Yeah.
but I still avoid making roti because I still in my mind thinking I'm going to get into trouble.
Yeah.
I can't do it right. Sahi nahi kardi, you know.
Yeah. But now with me, it's like when I make the atta, I make sure the paratha is properly clean, because in the back of my head, it's almost like my grandma sitting on my shoulder saying, you know, do it properly. So, and anyway, next we're going to talk about the factors that cause procrastination. कि मतलब ਅਸੀਂ ਕਾਤੇ ਆਪਣੇ ਆਪ ਨੂੰ ਹਟਾਉਂਦੇ ਆ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਕੰਮ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਜ਼ਰੂਰੀ ਆ ਪਰ ਅਸੀਂ ਹੌਲੀ ਹੌਲੀ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਵੀ ਚਲੋ ਮੈਂ ਕੱਲ ਨੂੰ ਕਰ ਲੂੰਗਾ ਪਰਸੋਂ ਨੂੰ ਕਰ ਲੂੰਗਾ but we delay it. So the first factor is being a perfectionist.
Yes, I think that's another way. I think all these things, factors we're sharing with you, there's always something on the basis of something we learned as a young child and something that had an impact on us that we remember and then we start playing out the rest of our lives. So me being a perfectionist, I started because I remember when I was at school and doing my kuch coloring karni, kuch likhna or whatever, and I used to be so neat and I used to get praised. I used to colour in the lines or cut round just perfectly, and so I used to get praised, I get a sweet, so I knew I used to get a reward doing things perfectly. But that actually we think is a good thing, but at the same time it was causing a lot of stress because if I couldn't do anything perfect, I couldn't. So I find myself procrastinating that if I can't get this perfect, it's no point going down there. So I prevent myself from doing something which I know mere vaste fayde vaste hai, but I won't do it because I'm thinking if I can't get it perfect now, I'm not going to get praised. I won't get that, validation that you are very good at this.
So in another way, you're talking about art, but I'm talking again about students. ਜਦੋਂ ਫਿਰ ਕਈ ਵਾਰੀ ਸਟੂਡੈਂਟ ਨੂੰ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਵੀ ਮੈਂ ਆਹ ਕੰਮ ਦੇਣਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਕਰਕੇ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਡਰ ਆ ਵੀ ਇਟਸ ਨਾਟ ਗੋਇੰ ਟੂ ਬੀ ਗੁੱਡ ਇਨਫ ਸੋ ਉਹ ਫਿਰ ਇਦਾਂ ਕਰਦੇ ਆ ਵੀ ਹੌਲੀ ਹੌਲੀ ਕਰ ਲੈਣਾ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਸਟਾਰਟ ਸ਼ੁਰੂ ਹੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਕਰਨਾ ਹੈਗਾ ਫਿਰ ਜਦੋਂ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਪੈਰ ਤੇ ਕਰਨਾ ਪੈਂਦਾ ਉਹ ਸਟ੍ਰੈਸ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਕਰ ਲੈਂਦੇ ਆ ਬਟ ਇਟਸ then they don't have to worry about the perfection side of it because they're just going to hand it in the way it is. So that takes away that pressure but also adds a pressure, but a different kind of pressure. Does that make sense?
Yeah. But even though being perfectionist you think is a good habit, but I didn't realise actually how much stress it was causing me.
It puts a lot of pressure on you.
I realised that over the years. So what I started doing to release that stress, so when I love my painting, so my jaan ke I would leave a mistake in there, just a way for me to break free from that old pattern of being a perfectionist, because I realised that to really truly love something or love one or love yourself, you got to love the imperfections. That's what true unconditional love is. And
there isn't anything such as perfect.
No.
Perfection. There's always going to be room for improvement.
Always,
so if you're always going to be striving, je tusi kende bhi aa nahi vadiya, then you never ever get it finished, really.
Exactly.
If you think of it in that way. The next example was fear of failure. ਕਿ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਆਪਾਂ ਡਰਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਵੀ ਉਹ ਕੰਮ ਕਾਮਯਾਬ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੋਣਾ ਹੈਗਾ. So that's what we mean about fear of failure. So do you want to say something about fear of failure?
I suppose failing myself as being a coach or whatever. I remember this is going back 4 years ago. Again, I used to get my friends or colleagues or clients used to say to me, oh, you should do this work, you should share it on some sort of social media, YouTube or something, or make videos. But I think there was a fear there of failing to really getting the message across, and I used to think, I used to make excuses thinking, what's one extra video YouTube channel going to make a difference? Any millions what's going to make a difference? Or if I write this stuff in a book, people say to write a book, all the stuff they share. I think any books, what's my book going to do? So you start making excuses because there's the real agenda behind all of that thinking was fear of failing and disappointing myself and others.
Yeah, I mean another thing is ਜਦੋਂ ਅਸੀਂ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਆ ਕਿ ਜਦੋਂ ਅਸੀਂ ਡਰਦੇ ਆ ਕਿ ਮਤਲਬ ਵੀ we're just scared of facing the consequences ਕਿ ਜੇ ਮੈਂ ਨਾ ਕੀਤਾ ਬੈਟਰ ਆ ਕਰਕੇ ਫਿਰ ਕੋਈ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਕੁਝ ਕਹਿ ਨਹੀਂ ਸਕਦਾ or stuff like that, so you just kind of leave it to one side. So example ਹੋ ਸਕਦਾ ਡਰਾਈਵਿੰਗ ਟੈਸਟ, ਜਦੋਂ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਪਤਾ ਆ ਕਿ ਇੰਨੀ ਵਾਰੀ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਟੈਸਟ ਦੇਣਾ ਪੈਣਾ, ਕਈ ਵਾਰੀ ਫਿਰ ਨਿਆਣੇ ਜਾਂ ਸਿਆਣੇ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਛੱਡ ਪਰੋਂ ਵੀ ਮੇਰੇ ਲਈ ਬੱਸ ਹੀ ਠੀਕ ਆ, ਟ੍ਰੇਨ ਠੀਕ ਆ, ਜਹਾਜ਼ ਠੀਕ ਆ, so we just leave it, ਕਹਿਣਾ ਵੀ we're so scared. So ਉਹਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਹੈ ਨਾ ਸਾਡੀ ਸਿਹਤ ਤੇ ਕਾਫੀ ਅਸਰ ਪੈਂਦਾ, ਸਾਡੀ our lifestyle is affected because ਅਸੀਂ ਜਿਹੜੇ choices ਬਣਾਉਂਦੇ ਆ to do with procrastination, ਜਿੱਥੇ ਅਸੀਂ ਉਹ ਕੰਮ ਨਹੀਂ ਕਰਦੇ ਜਿੱਥੋਂ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਡਰ ਪੈਂਦਾ ਆ. So another one would be like art, like you just said about making sure it's perfect, but then forgiving yourself and making a little mistake in there. I mean, another one what I was thinking was about being funny on this show, you know, and that's something that I've got to kind of work on, where you know, I think I'm funny, you think I'm funny, but obviously
the fear of getting it wrong.
It's the fear of judgment again.
I think it all comes down to the fear of failure, that we don't want to be seen looking stupid. We don't want to see that we there's something wrong with us, being judged, being criticized. This is all behind that fear of failure. You know, we can never get it right. We're never good enough. We're never going to be accepted by society. We might even be disowned. So all this comes into that fear of failure.
So yeah, so that's the, I mean, there's 4 things I wanted to mention. ਜਿਹੜੇ ਨਿਆਣੇ ਕਰਦੇ ਕਈ ਵਾਰੀ ਉਹ ਆਪਣਾ ਕੰਮ ਰੋਕ ਲੈਂਦੇ ਕਰਕੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਉਹ ਸੋਚਦੇ ਵੀ ਮੇਰੇ ਕੋਲ ਬਹੁਤ ਟਾਈਮ ਆ ਵੀ you know I don't need to rush, so ਉਹ end ਤੇ you know they force themselves to kind of do it at the last minute. So ਆ ਜਿਹੜੀਆਂ ਗੱਲਾਂ ਆ, this is to do with students, ਉਹ ਫਿਰ ਕਈ ਵਾਰੀ ਸੋਚਦੇ ਵੀ ਮੈਂ ਬਾਹਰ ਜਾਇਆ ਮੈਂ ਫਰੈਂਡਾਂ ਨਾਲ enjoy ਕਰ ਲਵਾਂ, so they end up procrastinating. So that's their way of not doing the job that they need to do.
Lower the standards because they could achieve a lot more if they did it. But another thing I find these students do, that even adults as well, that they actually boast about it, thinking, oh, I left it at the last minute because I'm so clever. I didn't have to prepare like that. Oh, and my other friend, oh my, he's been revising for God knows how many months, and I just left it last minute. Look, I got it, you know. But not realizing that if you're that clever, you can do it last minute. Can you imagine how much
better it would
have been if you started revising Pella, and you know you can go way out of your comfort zone and achieve a lot more.
And ਦੂਜੀ ਗੱਲ ਹੈਗੀ ਆ, you know, ਨਿਆਣੇ ਤਾਂ ਆਪਾਂ ਵੀ ਹੈਗੇ ਆ, ਸਾਨੂੰ ਅਸੀਂ ਸੋਚਦੇ ਆ ਕਿ we need the motivation, but motivation ਆਉਂਦੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੈਗੀ, so you end up delaying. So better if ਤੁਸੀਂ just get it going. Anyway, and the next is, so we procrastinate also because of anxiety and again fear of failure, and that creates, you know, things like low self-esteem, fear of criticism and depression. All of these are symptoms of what can happen as a result of procrastination.
Depression is obviously you're already feeling bad about yourself, you're already feeling overwhelmed, and then thinking about kuch karna, even it's like taking rubbish out
or having a shower.
You think somebody else will do it someday. Sometimes I know some people haven't emptied the bins for weeks because they're feeling so low, so they'll find so many excuses not to do it, and so all these procrastinations are actually quite dangerous for you because you can really stop living a very normal, healthy daily life.
And it's important to try and address it as soon as you realize that it's happening before it becomes a really, really serious issue. I mean, another one is where you feel hopeless, helpless, and you've got lack of energy, and this is where, you know, we're saying that it can cause a lot of self-doubt due to the depression, and this is somewhere where, you know, you might think that you may need to go and see a doctor to get your bloods checked and those kind of things, just to make sure that you're okay and that there isn't something else underlying reason. So anyway, we've got 4 types of procrastinators, and we've been talking about this quite a lot, and because it does feel like we might be repeating what we've said already, but these are the 4 kinds of procrastinators. So ਜਦੋਂ ਅਸੀਂ ਇਹ ਗੱਲ ਕਰਦੇ ਹਾਂ, ਅਸੀਂ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਸਮਝਾਉਂਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਵੀ 4 ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਦੇ ਲੋਕ ਆ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਆਪਾਂ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਆ ਪੈਰ ਪੀਂਦੇ ਆ ਜਾਂ ਹੌਲੀ ਹੌਲੀ ਕੰਮ ਕਰਦੇ ਆ. So the first one is the performer who says, I work well under pressure. So this is the perfectionist.
I mean, same that example of my student, you know, they think they want the adrenaline rush, so they think that they work better under pressure, so they got no choice, but they're going to get on with it, and that means they're not going to focus on anything else. But working under pressure is not good actually for your, you know, well-being. It's not healthy for you in the long run, and you can do it obviously without under pressure. It's a choice, but some people have got a habit, and they sort of like the habit they think is serving them, but it's not. It is seriously not serving you.
And it's a long-term issue, you know. ਜੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਇਹ ਆਦਤ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਹੀ ਪਾ ਲਈ, you know, it's hard to kind of break out of it, because then you do enjoy leaving things to the last minute, but that does cause you so much stress on your mental health and your physical health. So that's a really important one. So the challenge for the person who leaves things to the last minute, the perfectionist, is I should get my chores out of the way first. That isn't what we should be doing. What should be happening is that you make a decision that this is the day I'm going to start, because we talked about this, didn't we, about getting stuff done first. And I thought,
because I was saying, Pella, like, if I'm let's say tomorrow I'm going to start my my book. In the first chapter, and then I'm first thinking, well, I get my chores out of the way, and then I know I'm ready for it. But then still, I am procrastinating then, aren't I?
Because then if you start to think, well, I need to get then there's a real chance that's going to spill over into the time and the date. So then you lose the incentive to stick to that time and date, because your responsibilities of then and the 95% of your mind has kicked in again.
So really you're trying to say that it doesn't matter kam hoye kuch bhi kar de kam, you know, even the sara kar mess hoye, I'm going to start my
because then you're going to feel better, and you will then have the time to do all the things which are not necessary, which are not urgent, but you can then do them, because they will always be there. Those jobs are always going to be there, but your most important job is the one that you need to start with first.
It's interesting you saying this, because I've got a very naughty habit, and my daughter tells me off, that jidda holiday jana hunda I got this thing that packing was zaruri hai karan wali, and I should have done it a few days before. But for I don't know why I got this thing that my car sara safai karni.
I don't know. There's a joke about that. There's a joke where somebody says, "Oh, jado chora ne hona, ona nu idda hi pata lagega ki ghar ch bahut sona hai." So that's what somebody said to me a while back.
Really? And I got this thing that,
and I do it too.
And I think that maybe it's the thing that I want to come home back. When I come home, there's a nice clean bed sheets, everything's clean, and I only come back home from a nice holiday resort. But then I procrastinate, packing karni hai. But no, I can't do the packing and that's another way, isn't it? I can still do the packing and safai
afterwards.
But no, but why I got this thing it's just crazy, isn't it? It's a habit.
Makes no sense. And then there's the performer who says, I will work well under pressure. I've done that one.
So we're going to try
the self-deprecator.
That's a good one.
Who says, I'm so lazy right now. So then they make it a self-fulfilling prophecy. I'm so tired. But they're not very kind to themselves, and they're not very compassionate.
So they procrastinate. They make an excuse. I feel so lazy. I'm lazy. I don't feel I can do this right now. I just need to just not do anything. You know, I'm got the focus. But like I said, it's like you said. The more we keep saying, I'm lazy, I can't do this, we're actually inviting more of that situation to us, because whatever we focus and think about, we do end up manifesting and creating for ourselves. So we've got to be careful. And I always hear people say that, I'm so tired, I'm so lazy. And I think the more you say that, the more it keeps happening. You'll find reasons to be lazy, you'll find reasons to feel tired, and that will keep continuing all the time.
And this is where we said it's mental, it could be mental fatigue. And this is where be kind, be caring towards yourself, and be compassionate. So for the self-deprecator, your biggest challenge is to take a break. So you're not saying nice things to yourself. This is where, where you're overthinking. It's to actually take a break, like a real break, where you don't think about your work and you actually switch off and do something that's nice, whether you go and meet a friend or go for a meal, or do something that switches your mind off.
Completely off the task.
And then the solution would be to recharge. Try taking a walk, give yourself space, and to begin to rebuild that energy. Eat well, and so therefore you're ready to take on the task, and not say that you're being lazy, and just really be
just
clear
avoid,
about
Hanji, just avoid saying those words.
And be clear about what your actual goal is. So then the next one is the overbooker, and we had a really good discussion about this one. So we all know somebody who says, oh, I'm so busy, my calendar's full, I can't do this, I can't do that. And they make a habit of cramming everything into their diaries. And so what did you understand about the overbooker?
The overbooker, I mean, there's a lot of people that know that do this. Even I've done it as well, Hannah. It's just a way of just making themselves look important, saying that I've got so much on my plate, but kuch karna nahi. Karna hai, but kuch karna nahi hai. They feel like some sort of satisfaction that other people's really, it's just showing a facade, isn't it? Pretense that other people can see that, you know, I'm just a person who does not lay about. I do have things on my, you know, my calendar. But those people tend to don't want to really do anything. People exaggerate about their diary.
But also they are the people that are not in tune with their feelings or their emotions. So they're trying to, by keeping themselves so busy, if there's an issue at home with their partner, with their children, with family members or their friends, it's a type of avoidance where they don't want to reach down into what they're really feeling. So it's a way of avoiding what they're really feeling. So they just keep themselves so busy, nobody can get them to sit down and say, what is really going on here? So their biggest challenge is to take a break.
I mean, I have got a friend, a very close friend, who actually does this a lot, and I sometimes think like, I'm just going to forcefully drag you and put you on my couch and let's deal what's coming up. But she has to keep herself busy all the time, all the time, all the time. Only because she does not want to deal with this really some deep emotions that she's living in avoidance with.
So their biggest challenge is to face whatever it is, and it's not a task usually because they are so busy. They will get most of their things done, but the thing with the overbooker is that they don't want to talk about how they feel and what's actually really going on underneath this whole filling up their diary.
But that happened during the lockdown, but people had to slow down and they had different strategies how to live their lives, keeping themselves busy at the gym, work, you know, just going on holidays. These are all avoidance strategies, but they would put themselves so busy all the time. All of a sudden they couldn't do anything, and all these emotions were coming up, and they were coming, that panic, anxiety attacks, depression, all this was coming up because they couldn't find the outlet.
And also they had to face those feelings because there was nowhere else to go to avoid
that
what they were feeling.
That happened a lot, massively during the lockdown.
So the solution for the overbooker is to actually take a moment to actually think about what it is that's going on. And in this example we can talk about men because they avoid their emotions. They go to the pub, they'll talk about football, but they will not talk about how they feel. And it could be that their partner's upset with them because they're not spending enough time, so they could end up working harder in the business or whatever it is they're doing, rather than sitting down and talking about how they feel. And plus they feel really, really guilty. So, you know, that's important for them to just sit down and look at what it is that they're trying to avoid. And then the last one is the novelty seeker. Now, we had a lot of fun talking about this person as well. The person that just jumps from one idea to the next, but you've got quite a lot of information on that one.
There's someone in particular that I know that, oh my God, they've got the best idea, this is it, we're going to start this, we're going to do this, and everybody sit down and listen to this, and it go on for hours and hours. And not just the family knows, even the neighborhood knows, but they go on about it for ages, and then nothing happens. Nothing, you never hear anything coming of it. So it's like there's all talk but no action. But like I said,
but what do you think that is though?
It's like I said, it's to do, obviously, they do have a desire that they want to accomplish something, but something running much deeper, where they feel that they're not, you know, capable or they're not good enough, but yet they do want the society to see them. They do have all these amazing ideas, so they want to be seen sometimes. You know, like, I'm not just a person who doesn't know anything, who is not capable of anything, but at the same time, but their belief about themselves is very strong, that they really feel like a loser, they feel like inadequate, you know, useless. And that's what ends up running the show, that ends up making the final decision, you know. So it's something, like you said, running on a subconscious, the conscious mind saying, I got this idea, this and this and this, but the subconscious mind overrides the conscious idea.
And another one for this is the novelty seeker, who's jumping from one. I think it's also to do with the fear of success. So they're actually not, they've got these great ideas, but they never follow through because they're scared of, well, what if people stop talking to me if I become really successful? What if I lose my family, my friends? So they kind of withdraw because that's a safe place to be. It's like a comfort zone, isn't it?
And like I said, the brain is not really designed for success. It's actually designed for survival. So the survival means it's stay shut in that little box of yours, because if you get out the box, there can be fear of being rejected, fear of being ridiculed, you be humiliated, you be shamed, and that is
lose family and friends.
Yeah, you lose family and friends. I won't have much time with myself. I won't get time to do those little things like just play, you know,
pottering around
in the garden. Success means too much responsibility. I can't cope with responsibility. Maybe I would. It's sometimes to the point where they just think that they won't have the health to do it, or whatever, or they just don't feel that they're not that clever enough to do it. You know, my mum and dad said when I was young, like, oh, other people are better than you. You haven't got it right. All of the information there. You know?
So I think, you know, the novelty seeker, the one who jumps from ideas, is, you know, everything that you've said, and also a fear of success. So we've got some procrastination quotes. So ਇਹਦੇ ਬਾਰੇ ਅਸੀਂ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਦੱਸ ਸਕਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਕਿ ਜਦੋਂ ਅਸੀਂ ਪੈਰ ਪੀਂਦੇ ਵੀ ਅਸੀਂ quote ਲਿਖਿਆ ਕਿਸੇ ਨੇ, so ਉਹਦੇ ਥੋੜੀ ਜਿਹੀ explain ਕਰ ਸਕਦੇ ਹਾਂ.
Yeah. Read the first one? Yeah, I can read the first one. So it's Bella Quote. So once we begin a task, no matter how dreaded our perception of the task, it changes. So we don't regard the task as quite so stressful or difficult once we get started. Starting is everything.
Yeah. That's the first step, the most important thing. It's a bit like looking at a mountain. When you look at the mountain, you think, I'm never going to get up there. But if you just take the first step, then, you know, everything else will happen. The second quote is, procrastination is one of the most common and deadliest of diseases, and its toll on success and happiness is heavy. So that just goes to show that ਜਦੋਂ ਅਸੀਂ ਸੋਚਦੇ ਹਾਂ, ਪੈਰ ਪੀਂਦੇ ਹਾਂ, ਉਹਦਾ ਅਸਰ ਸਾਡੇ ਮਨ ਤੇ ਤੇ ਸਾਡੇ ਸਰੀਰ ਤੇ ਬਹੁਤ ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾ ਭਾਰ ਹੈ। ਤਾਂ ਕਈ ਵਾਰੀ ਜਿਹੜੀਆਂ ਸਾਡੀਆਂ ਖੁਸ਼ੀਆਂ ਜਿਹੜੀਆਂ ਆਉਣ ਵਾਲੀਆਂ ਆ, ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਵੀ ਅਸੀਂ ਰੋਕ ਦਿੰਦੇ ਹਾਂ through procrastination.
Yeah, and this third one is everybody knows about. We are so scared of being judged.
And even we've gone through this ourselves.
all the time. And even sometimes it happens now. So we're so scared of being judged that we look for any excuse to procrastinate. And this is by a lovely lady called Erica Jong, her quote. And I'm sure most of humanity can relate to this.
Yeah.
So this is a fun bit now. So we just explained a little bit of, you know, what procrastination looks like. So now we planned another little role play, and in this role play, I'm going to play a character as Steve, the coach, and Gurdial's going to play the amazing role, and she's so good at this. You're going to have so much fun watching this. She's going to play Gary, and Gary is a character who has got a real issue with going to the gym, losing weight, worried about his health, but keeps finding bahane and can't seem to, you know, stick to his routine of taking care of himself. So, but Gary's already been through, we can imagine Gary's already been through one session, he's come for his second session, and he's really going to explain that he's so fed up, and I'm the coach going to listen to him and then give him advice. So this is what myself and Gurdial would do as coaches if somebody came with this issue, how would advise and help them.
Okay.
So are you ready for this? I'm going to be the coach now.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's start with this. Okay, so I'm just going to pretend this is our office. So, hello Gary.
Hi Gary.
It's good to meet you. I hope you're enjoying the lovely weather we're having.
Yeah. ठीक है, बहुत बढ़िया.
That's very good. So, Gary, how are you, and how's your exercise and healthy eating regime going?
What can I say? It's going terribly. All the responsibilities, my family, the household chores, fix this, fix that, full-time job. It's too hard. I just don't get around to do anything for myself. I'm just feeling so overwhelmed with everything.
So tell me, how does it make you feel when you don't go to the gym, Gary?
I feel disappointed because I let myself down, I let my family down. I end up going to the pub with my friends because I want to feel better, but I feel even more guilty.
Yes.
So it's a vicious loop going round and around and around.
Okay, so what do you feel is the real reason for you procrastinating?
बस ਮੈਨੂੰ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਵੀ ਮੈਂ ਬਾਕੀਆਂ ਦੀ ਲੁੱਕ ਆਫਟਰ ਕਰਾਂ ਆਪਣੀ ਲੁੱਕ ਆਫਟਰ ਰਹਿਣ ਦੇਵਾਂ ਕਰਕੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੀ ਜ਼ਰੂਰੀ ਆ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਕੰਮ ਮੇਰੀ ਵਾਈਫ ਕਹਿੰਦੀ ਹੈ ਮੇਰੇ ਨਿਆਣੇ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਮੇਰੇ ਆਂਢ ਗੁਆਂਢ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਆ ਉਹ ਕੰਮ ਜ਼ਰੂਰੀ ਆ ਮੇਰਾ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਆਪਣਾ ਕੰਮ ਹੈ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਮੇਰਾ ਜੀ ਕਰਦਾ ਕਰਨ ਨੂੰ ਉਹ ਮੈਂ ਰਹਿਣ ਦਿੰਦੀ ਆ ਤਾਂ ਫਿਰ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਮੇਰੀ ਗਿਲਟ ਆ I feel so guilty ਤਾਂ ਉਹਦੇ ਨਾਲ is driving me nuts.
Okay. So, do you remember when you first started to feel guilty by letting other people down?
Yeah, I think it started in India. ਜਦੋਂ ਮੇਰੇ ਮੰਮੀ ਡੈਡੀ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਸੀਗੇ ਵੀ ਤੂੰ ਆਹ ਕੰਮ ਕਰ ਉਹ ਕੰਮ ਕਰ ਸੋ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਜਿੱਦਾਂ ਬੰਨਿਆ ਗਿਆ ਸੀਗਾ ਇੰਡੀਆ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਵੀ ਤੂੰ ਬਾਹਰ ਜਾ ਕੇ ਖੇਲ ਨਹੀਂ ਸਕਦਾ ਆਪਣੇ ਫਰੈਂਡਾਂ ਨਾਲ ਤੂੰ ਘਰ ਬੈਠ ਕੇ ਕੰਮ ਕਰ ਪੜ੍ਹਾਈ ਕਰ ਆਪਣੇ ਭੈਣ ਭਰਾਵਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਸੰਭਾਲ ਸੋ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਉਦੋਂ ਪਤਾ ਸੀਗਾ ਵੀ ਮੇਰੇ ਤੇ ਬਹੁਤ ਪ੍ਰੈਸ਼ਰ ਸੀਗਾ ਕਰਕੇ ਮੈਂ ਵੱਡਾ ਸੀਗਾ ਫੈਮਿਲੀ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ.
Okay. So, and what was it that you really wanted to do, Gary?
मैं फुटबॉल खेलना सी मैं अपने फ्रेंड ਨਾਲ फुटबॉल खेलना सी I wanted to play football but never happened. I was not allowed. So ਉਹ ਤੋਂ ਫਿਰ ਮੇਰਾ ਭਾਰ ਵੱਧ ਗਿਆ.
Okay.
ਮੋਟਾ ਹੋਣ ਲੱਗ ਪਿਆ ਸੀ ਲੱਡੂ ਖਾ ਕੇ.
Oh dear me. But ਲੱਡੂ are very nice.
ਤੇ ਫਿਰ ਪਤਾ ਕੀ ਲੋਕਾਂ ਨੇ ਵੀ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਝੋਟੂ ਸੱਦਣ ਲੱਗ ਪਏ ਸੀ ਲੱਡੂ ਸੱਦਣ ਲੱਗ ਪਏ ਸੀ ਮੋਟੂ ਸੱਦਣ ਲੱਗ ਪਏ ਸੀ.
Okay, it's good to know that. Okay, write that down. Yeah, because name calling can make you feel very low and depressed, and you start identifying that this is how people, society see me as. So it's important to be aware.
And then I used to feel annoyed and shamed and disappointed, and then I stopped asking.
So, Gary, tell me, were there any moments when you refused to help out? How did you handle that?
ਇੱਕ ਦਿਨ ਫਿਰ ਨਾ I got so angry. I said to my mom and I said to my dad, I don't care. I'm going out. I'm going to go and play with my friends. But it caused a very big problem.
Can you explain more?
ਛਿੱਤਰ ਪਏ ਸੀ ਘਰ ਜਾ ਕੇ. I got into a lot of trouble. My mom and dad was very, very angry. So it just caused a lot of problems. My mom was crying because she was in a lot of pain and she was very upset. My dad was very angry, hit me with a cricket bat. So I just felt really bad. Okay, I look after my family, no, so it was a very big problem.
Yes, that must have been a very tough time. So when that happened, that incident, and obviously you got physical abuse as well, and not just emotional abuse, what did you feel about yourself, Gary, when your dad said that to you?
I felt guilty, unworthy member of the family. I was suffering, and I just thought, everybody else is more important, that I shouldn't think about myself. कि मैं self-centered हूँ, भी मैं इधर काते सोचता हूँ. I need to think about just the family. Okay. All the time.
And that's what you started believing in that moment then?
Yeah. That's what happened. At that time I was feeling very guilty, very ashamed, so I stopped.
So you do believe that whenever you're doing things for yourself, you are being too self-centered by ignoring responsibility to others that you love?
Yes, I feel ashamed, I feel guilty, I'm letting my loved ones down, so I don't do things that make me happy.
And so why were you compelled to eat so much?
It made me feel good. It made me feel happy for a very short time.
And when you were eating, what are the reasons do you think you were eating? I know you felt good, but what was happening when you were eating at that time?
For a short time, it made me feel good. That's all I know. It made me feel good.
So that feeling of shame, guilt, and that, do you think that was a way of just suppressing that? Did you feel that at that time? When you were eating, did you feel like you felt less of the shame and guilt?
I felt upset, angry, annoyed, ashamed. Lots of emotions came up, but because I was small, I don't know how I feel. I know that I never get to go out, enjoy myself. So I felt all those things. Okay. So
why do you think that your parents, why do you think that your parents kept insisting you to do the household chores? So mummy daddy क्यों कही जाते थे घर दा काम कर
करके उन्होंने नहीं सी कदी फ्रीडम मिली, so they want to, उन्होंने फिर मैनू भी बन के रखना सीगा. So you know, that's it. तो फिर कई बारी इदा होंदा सीगा भी उन्होंने मेरी कज़न ने भी कहना सीगा भी तू एवें ही आ भी तेनू पढ़ाई दा नहीं पता, तू इदा करदा आ.
So did you experience any other incidents when you started to feel unworthy and deserving of feeling guilt and shame?
Yeah, I just felt like भी मेरा दिमाग ही है नहीं हो. वो कहते सी भी तू जेड़े फुटबॉल खेलते उन्होंने दिमाग नहीं हैगा. So मैनू लगता सी भी मेरा भी नहीं दिमाग हैगा. वो कहते सी जेड़े न्याणे फुटबॉल खेलते आ उन्होंने दिमाग नहीं हैगा.
And you believed that?
मैं छोटा सीगा, so yes.
That people who play football, they don't have any brains, and you believed it?
Yeah. बस मेरे दिमाग इदा सीगा कि I'm useless, I'm worthless, कि मैं clever नहीं हैगा. So all these negative things.
I remember in the first session you were saying something about your cousins.
Yeah, वो फिर comparison करते सीगे कहना कि जेडे मेरे cousins सीगे वो better than me, they're cleverer than me, they're healthier than me, they're fitter than me, everything.
And how did that make you feel when they used to say that to you?
Rubbish.
We're laughing.
Sorry.
This is very good. I'm really impressed. You know, you are doing so well here.
My acting might have gone into a little bit female acting in the middle of that.
But this is what I love about this.
English.
I'm listening to you, right? I'm trying to be the coach. This is so good. But I could really feel what you're going through.
Yeah.
And it's like, even though we're doing an role here, but the things you're saying, it seems quite like
relatable.
Relatable, I know. Yeah. But like you're talking about the parents comparing you to cousins, and then to do with the using no brains because you play football. That's quite harsh things to say.
Yeah.
But you're doing really well. I'm really impressed. So let's carry on with this.
Yeah.
We've got to make it real as possible.
Yeah.
So, and how did this make you feel that, like you said, you made you feel worthless and disappointed? So, okay, so now I need to explain to Gary, because this is quite incredible, the stuff that you just shared with me. So he has learned from a younger age that guilt, he has learned from a younger age that guilt, shame, and feeling unworthy has become his identity. So this is normal for him, that this is who Gary is. Gary is the boy who's always got to feel guilty and shame and unworthiness. So what's happening here, the rest of his life, he will end up doing things like subconsciously in an automatic way that will validate that to him. So procrastinating is one of the characteristics that he's learned to validate that he's guilty and unworthy. And so it's a way that he wants to punish himself by delaying and so, and that's you punishing yourself because you think you're deserving being punished because you disappoint and let down your loved ones. And that was actually what was happening. So you start to believe that there's something wrong with you. And so this is what's actually happening. So and that's why these things and you can't seem to break free from this loop that I can't take care of myself, because you learn that taking care of myself means, oh my God, if I take care of myself, that's me
neglecting other people,
and then I'm letting down my loved ones. Then I need to feel guilty, and guilty is a horrible emotion. It's a terrible one, but you think you're deserving of it. Does that make sense? Yeah. And also you got a very strong negative self-concept. And what self-concept is, it's how we view ourselves and how we assume and believe things about ourselves.
कि मतलब जिदा असी अपने आप बारे सोचते हैं भी जो कुछ असी अपने आप ਨੂੰ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ हैं. Is that what self-concept means?
It's a story you tell about yourself, what you assume. This is my relationship with me and my relationship with the world, and that bar he keeps saying it, and that actually obviously stems from childhood, but it can be negative and positive things, not just negative things that you believe, and that actually becomes our reality. And that, so if you keep saying I'm worthless, I'm deserving of guilt, so sari reality ban jaydi, halat ban jaydi. So you find that you will end up doing things that will you need to procrastinate. If you didn't procrastinate, how would you make yourself feel guilty? Guilty has become your identity. Does that make sense?
मैं सोचा नहीं सी भी एकदम इन्ना होंदी होगी.
This is what's happening to many of us people, that with things that we've conditioned and programmed ourselves that play out on a subconscious level, that procrastination is a way of living and staying in that identity.
फिर ਇਹਦੇ ਬਾਰੇ मैं किद्दां help कर सकते हैं अपने आप ਨੂੰ?
Obviously now you got to change your stories, self-concept stories. Instead of keep saying, oh, I'm not good enough, or I deserve being guilty. Now you say the opposite, that I'm good enough. It's safe for me to pursue my interests, because the more I take care of myself and happy, then other people are happy, then I can actually help my loved ones in a better place. So story change karo. Don't keep talking about negative story. Say to yourself, it's easier for me to take care of myself. My body, my mind is in harmony, and it's easy for me to lose weight. It's easy for me to eat healthy. So keep having that inner conversation, dialogue on a healthy way. And then also find other people to go to the gym with you. Don't go on your own, because that really helps. So you got a routine.
It's accountability, you know?
Yes, exactly. And then also be kinder to yourself. Stop feeling guilty, because the more we stop feeling guilty, it robs of our innate creativity. And also, it's no harm. You know, and come back to Gary now. Good, So Gary, go back in the role. It's no harm in just going to, if you're feeling tired and you've got the energy to go to the gym, just no harm just going to doctors, because sometimes it could be just something low in supplement. It could be low in
vitamin D
or B12 or something. That can give you feel like a fog brain, you know, mental fatigue. And sometimes that could be an issue. But mostly it is something that is conditioned from young, childhood issues. And I'll also download, some days you can't go to the gym, I would recommend you just, the days that you don't go for a walk, or download the app Couch to 5K.
I've done that before.
It's so easy to do, because you do every alternative day, and then I feel good, I've done it, I've done something instead of not doing anything, even a little bit to celebrate. Then also I think the most important things is to reprogram that subconscious mind, the old beliefs, and then listen to affirmations. You can leave them on all night and do that. That's really helpful to do. And just make a habit of celebrating any little achievement. Share it and talk about it. Even if it's a half an hour walk, I did the half an hour walk, I'm really good about that.
I think I need help for the family भी मेरी help करे है ना, वो भी थोड़ा कि responsibility घटाउन है ना, फिर मैं भी कर सकता हूँ.
But I think I understand, but I think you have to be courageous enough to say, sometimes the family can't always support us because they're set in their ways. You've got to be courageous. I need to do this. And but you're not doing it just to be spiteful. You're doing it because I know if I'm taking care of my well-being, so my sare they look after and they're not used to probably you making a firm decision. And they'll get used to it. And they know in the long run that if you're healthy, then everybody's happy as well.
नहीं ठीक है, बहुत बढ़िया जो तुसी मैंने दस्या, मैं उन जरूर ट्राई करूँगा. जरूर ट्राई करूँगा.
Gary, you're good.
Gary now. Going back to Gurdial.
Going back to Gurdial. Hello, Gurdial. Come back.
Hi, thank you very much for all that.
That was so hard. We did practice before, but Hassa and Nandana,
So anyway, I hope you enjoyed that little play of Gary and Stephen, the coach. So here are some of the top anti-procrastination techniques that you can use. So आज जरा तुसी हम थाने दसना है कि जेरे टॉप पे साढ़े है ना सब तो बढ़िया थानू जेरे हेल्प कर सकते जे थानू औखा लगता कोई भी काम शुरू करना जहाँ थानू भार लगता है जहाँ औखा लगता है जहाँ हार्ड लगता. So the first one is जेरे भी ज़्यादा बड़ा काम है कोई भी बड़ा काम है थोड़े के जे उन्हों छोटा बना के है ना कि स्टेप बाय स्टेप तुसी कर सकते जिधर मैं थानू दस्या सीगा तुसी पहाड़ नू ऊपर तक ना देखो तुसी थल्लियों पैर कदम चक्को कि पहला स्टेप मेरा की आ काम करन तो मैं कित्थों हेल्प ले सकदा हां जित्थों मेरी मदद कोई कर सकदा. So the first thing is just to take the first step. So that's the first thing. And
yes, the other one was I like this one as well because I do that count 10 before you indulge in impulsive to procrastinate. So just before you go into just count to 10 before you and do some deep breathing and that sort of takes your attention away from that program. And so just counting 10 at deep breathing, it breaks that connection to the program.
ਤਾਂ ਹੋਰ ਇੱਕ ਹੈਗਾ ਆ ਕਿ set concrete deadlines for yourself. So ਜਿਹੜੇ ਵੀ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਜੇ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਕੋਲ 20 ਕੰਮ ਆ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਲਿਸਟ ਕਰ ਸਕਦੇ ਹੋ ਵੀ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਵੀ ਕੰਮ ਹੈ ਜੇ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਦਿਮਾਗ 'ਚ overwhelm ਆ ਵੀ ਹਾਏ ਰੱਬਾ ਮੇਰੇ ਕੋਲ ਇੰਨੇ ਕੰਮ ਆ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਪਤਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਲੱਗਦਾ ਮੈਂ ਕਿਹੜਾ ਸ਼ੁਰੂ ਕਰਾਂ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ so if you make a list ਫਿਰ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਉੱਥੋਂ ਹਨਾ ਪਤਾ ਲੱਗ ਜਾਂਦਾ ਵੀ ਕਿਹੜਾ ਸਭ ਤੋਂ ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾ ਇੰਪੋਰਟੈਂਟ ਆ ਇੰਗਲਿਸ਼ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਹੁੰਦੇ eat the frog. So have you heard about eat the frog?
You mentioned it briefly earlier on, but it's nice to explain that again.
So eat the frog, ਜਿਹੜਾ ਡੱਡੂ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਆ ਡੱਡੂ ਵੀ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਡੱਡੂ ਨੂੰ ਖਾ ਲਵੋ ਮਤਲਬ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਸਭ ਤੋਂ ਵੱਡਾ ਔਖਾ ਕੰਮ ਲੱਗਦਾ ਉਹ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਕਰੋ ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਜੇ ਉਹ ਹੋ ਗਿਆ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਬਾਕੀ ਆ ਉਹ ਫਿਰ ਮਗਰੋਂ ਈਜ਼ੀ ਲੱਗਣੇ ਆ so make a long list ਤਾਂ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਹਾਰਡ ਆ ਕੰਮ ਉਹ ਡੱਡੂ ਨੂੰ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਖਾਵੋ ਤਾਂ ਫਿਰ ਹੌਲੀ ਹੌਲੀ ਬਾਕੀ ਆਪੇ ਈਜ਼ੀ ਹੋ ਜਾਣੇ ਉਸ ਤੋਂ ਬਾਅਦ.
This is a good one. Eliminate distractions from your environment. Like jitna thoda phone, you switch it off, or you know, just keep it away from another room. You know, so and we got a habit. We could be writing something so important, or just started a project. We got a habit of looking at the notifications, or sometimes we do automatically. And some people find there's addiction to scrolling, and it could be like not just a phone, it could be like those computer games and things. And people, the reason we do that, it's like a dopamine addiction. Dopamine is like the fun pleasure hormone in our body, and sometimes we just like a kick and a burst of that because it feels good, and then we find ourselves an addiction to it banjin there. So we got a habit of scrolling through Instagram, Facebook, or going on the game because we need a burst of that. But that is a distraction, and it prevents us from actually giving the full focus to what we're supposed to be doing.
So the last 3 examples, because we're running out of time now, are marked streaks on the days that you do get it. So if you've got a calendar, just write on there, your achievements, and be kind to yourself. Reward yourself for your achievements. And if you do make mistakes, don't worry about it. It's okay to make mistakes. We're only human. Be kind to yourself. Be compassionate. Forgive yourself easily. So we're really coming to the end. And we're talking about mental diet. Say nice things to yourself as well. So I think we've actually got time for our joke this week and inspiration.
So even now when we're doing this show, it never goes to plan. So we always find ourselves missing a few things and having a bit of a giggle and a laugh. That's what we're here about. That is the Love, Laugh and Live show. That it's okay to have a sense of humour. Life doesn't have to be serious. We don't have to get it all right. We can make mistakes, and we make plenty of mistakes when we're doing this show. But that's what we're trying to say. We're just going to be okay and laugh about it.
And hopefully you will be able to relate to us and not think that, oh my God, they got, this and this isn't the way it should be. Because we want to make this as easy for you as it is for us.
So
first we're going to just